Someone in your life, a parent, a coworker, maybe a stranger at a dinner party, looked at you renting and said it. You know you're just throwing money away, right? And something about the way they said it made you feel behind, irresponsible, like you were failing at adulthood. Here is what nobody told you. That sentence, the one that has been living rent-free in your head, is one of the most repeated financial myths in existence. And today, we are going to kill it completely. Meet Jordan. Jordan is 31. He rents a one-bedroom apartment in the city for $1,850 a month. He has a decent job, no major debt, and about $18,000 saved up. Every single family gathering. Someone asks him when he is buying. His uncle calls renting dead money. His mom sends him listings. His coworker just bought a semi-detached and cannot stop talking about building equity. Jordan starts to feel it, that quiet guilt, that sense that he is doing something wrong, that everyone else figured out a step he missed, so he decides to get serious about buying. He spends 6 months researching. He talks to a mortgage broker. He runs the numbers on what he can afford. And what he finds genuinely surprises him. To buy a comparable home in his city, not a mansion, just something comparable to what he rents, he would need a down payment of roughly $80,000 to $100,000. His $18,000 does not touch it. Even if he qualified for a smaller amount, his monthly mortgage payment, property taxes, home insurance, and maintenance costs combined would run him somewhere between $3,200 and $3,800 a month. He currently pays $1,850. The gap between those two numbers is not dead money. That gap, invested wisely, could be the actual foundation of his wealth. But nobody told him that, because everybody was too busy telling him renting is throwing money away. Let us talk about where this idea came from, because it did not appear out of nowhere. The belief that renting is wasting money became mainstream in an era when housing was genuinely cheap relative to incomes, when a single income could buy a family home in a major city without breaking everything else in the budget. That era is gone. In most major cities today, Toronto, Vancouver, London, Sydney, New York, the gap between what renting costs and what owning costs has never been wider. The math that made buying obviously smart 2 generations ago does not automatically apply today. But the advice stayed. The culture kept repeating it, and millions of people absorbed it as truth without ever running the actual numbers. Now, here is the part that changes how you think about this. When people say renting is throwing money away, what they mean is that rent does not build equity. You pay it. It is gone. You own nothing at the end. That part is true. But here is what they are forgetting. Owning a home also costs money that builds zero equity. Every month, a homeowner pays mortgage interest, not principal, interest. That money is gone. It does not build equity. It goes to the bank. Every month they pay property taxes, gone. No equity. Home insurance, gone. Maintenance. A leaking roof, a broken furnace, a flooded basement, gone. Often thousands at a time. These are called the hidden costs of homeownership, and most people dramatically underestimate them. The rule of thumb used by financial planners is that a homeowner should budget roughly 1 to 2% of their home's value every year just for maintenance. On a $700,000 home, that is $7,000 to $14,000 a year, every year, just to keep the house functioning. A renter pays none of that. So when someone says renting is throwing money away, the honest answer is, so is a significant portion of what homeowners pay every single month. The difference is, nobody talks about the homeowners' thrown away money. They only talk about the renters. Now, I want to be very clear about something. I am not saying buying a home is a bad decision. For many people in the right circumstances, buying is a powerful financial move. Home equity is real. Forced savings through mortgage paydown is real. Stability and the ability to renovate and put roots down, all real and valuable. What I am saying is this. Renting is not automatically losing. And buying is not automatically winning. Both have costs, both have benefits, and the best choice depends entirely on your specific numbers, not on what someone told you at Christmas dinner. Let me show you what the math actually looks like. And I want you to stay with me here because this is where everything changes. Back to Jordan. Option 1. Jordan stretches and buys. He scrapes together a down payment over the next 3 years. He buys a comparable home for around $650,000. His mortgage payment plus property taxes plus insurance plus average maintenance costs him approximately $3,400 a month. He was paying $1,850 in rent. The difference is $1,550 a month. Now, over time, his home may appreciate. Let us say it grows at 4% per year, a reasonable historical average for a major Canadian city. After 10 years, his $650,000 home is worth approximately $962,000. His equity, after accounting for what he paid down on the mortgage, is meaningful. Probably around $350,000 to $400,000, depending on his mortgage terms. That sounds like a win, and it is not nothing. But now, let us look at option 2. Option 2. Jordan keeps renting and invests the difference. He stays in his $1,850 apartment. Every month, he takes that $1,550 difference, the gap between what he would have paid owning versus renting, and invests it into a simple low-cost index fund averaging 8% annual return. $1,550 a month. Every month? For 10 years? At the end of 10 years, Jordan's investment portfolio is worth approximately $284,000. Wait, that is less than the homeowner's $350,000 to $400,000 equity. So buying wins, right? Not so fast. Remember, the homeowner spent an extra $1,550 a month to get there. That money is gone, and their net worth is tied up in an illiquid asset. They cannot sell one bedroom to pay for a career change. They cannot move cities for a better opportunity without a major transaction that costs 5 to 6% in fees alone. And here is what the numbers look like at 20 years. Jordan's invested portfolio, still putting in $1,550 a month at 8%, is now worth approximately $916,000 in cash, liquid, flexible, working for him every single day. The homeowner's equity position at 20 years on a home that appreciated at 4% annually is meaningful too, potentially similar or higher depending on the market. But here is what most people miss entirely. Jordan did not have to choose between renting and building wealth. He chose to rent and build wealth at the same time. The renter who invests the difference is not behind the homeowner. In many scenarios, they are ahead. And in every scenario, they have more flexibility, more liquidity, and more options than someone whose entire net worth is sitting in the walls of a single property. So if you are renting right now, what do you actually do with this information? Here are 4 concrete steps. Step 1. Calculate your actual rent versus own gap. Do not guess. Pull up real listings for homes comparable to what you rent in your city. Calculate the full monthly cost of owning, mortgage payment at current interest rates, property taxes, home insurance, and 1% of home value divided by 12 for maintenance. Compare that total to what you pay in rent. Whatever the gap is, that is your investment opportunity sitting on the table every single month. Step 2. Start investing that gap immediately. You do not have to wait until you can afford to buy to start building wealth. Open a TFSA in Canada or a Roth IRA in the US. Set up an automatic transfer on payday. Put the gap, or even a portion of it, into a low-cost index fund. This is not instead of saving for a house, if that is your goal. This is building wealth while you decide. Step 3. Stop measuring your worth in square footage. Net worth is not how much your home is worth. Net worth is assets minus liabilities. A renter with a $200,000 investment portfolio and no debt has a higher net worth than a homeowner with a $600,000 house and a $500,000 mortgage and nothing else. Start tracking your actual net worth, not your property value, your net worth. Step 4. Make the decision with numbers, not with guilt. If buying genuinely makes sense in your city, at your income, at your stage of life, buy. Run the numbers with a mortgage broker and a financial planner. Look at your 5-year plan. Consider your career flexibility. Factor in your down payment timeline. But make the decision because the math works, not because someone made you feel irresponsible for renting. Guilt is not a financial strategy. Here is the reframe I want you to carry out of this video. A home is not an investment in the traditional sense. It is a place to live. It has financial implications. It can grow in value. It can build equity. But it is primarily a consumption asset, something you use, maintain, heat, repair, and eventually sell. An investment is something that works for you, generates income, compounds over time, stays liquid enough to deploy when opportunities appear. Your home cannot pay your rent if you lose your job. Your investment portfolio can. Your home cannot fund your child's education without refinancing. Your investment portfolio can. Your home cannot allow you to move for a better career opportunity without a 6-month sale process and tens of thousands in transaction costs. Your investment portfolio can move with you. The wealthiest people in the world do not tie all of their net worth into a single illiquid asset and call it financial planning. They own assets that generate cash. They have flexibility. They have optionality. Some of them rent by choice because they know something the person at the dinner party does not. Renting is not a sign that you are behind. It might be the most financially strategic move you are making. If you are doing something smart with the difference, you are going to keep paying for somewhere to live. That was always going to be true. Every human being on the planet pays for shelter, either through rent or through the full cost of ownership. The question was never rent or buy. The real question is, what are you doing with the money that is not going toward shelter? Because that money, invested consistently over time, is what actually builds the life you are trying to reach. Nobody gets wealthy because they stopped renting. They get wealthy because they started building, and you do not need to own a home to do that. The lie was never that renting costs money. Everything costs money. The lie was that renting was the only thing standing between you and wealth. It was not. You were. And now you know the difference. Drop a comment below and tell me, are you renting right now? Have you been feeling that pressure to buy before you feel ready? Tell me your situation, city, rough rent, and what you're doing with the gap, if anything. And I will give you my honest take on where you actually stand. Subscribe to Nuella Invests. Every week we have the money conversation your family should have had with you years ago, but probably did not. See you in the next one.